Thank you. If you've ever met Lance Meyerowitz, you know that he's an incredible person in many ways. He's a tireless fighter, he's smart, he's honest, he's fun-loving, he's certainly full of energy, and despite his many talents and successes, he's very humble and warm with everyone he meets. Without telling too much of his personal story, Lance is a two-time cancer survivor and a longtime supporter of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's annual Light the Night Walk. Lance and his team of lymphomaniacs have relentlessly raised funds and awareness for LLS beginning in 2008. His tenacity and commitment to finding a cure for cancer have helped his fundraising numbers rise exponentially year in and year out. In 2011, Lance earned the distinction of becoming the biggest fundraiser in Light the Night history.
Wait, in all of Light the Night history?
Yeah, the biggest fundraiser in all of Light the Night history, in all of New York, and in fact, in all of North America.
No way!
Yes way.
Think of all the kids like us he's helped. How much did he raise?
Kids, can you help us with this? Amazement as the New York City campaign has grown from just over $2 million in 2008 to topping over $4 million in 2011, despite heavy economic times, but all led by Lance and his Crazy for a Cure team of lymphomaniacs who consistently raised the bar, although my team almost got up to you a couple of times. Please join us in congratulating Lance Meyerowitz and receiving this year's Relentless for a Cure Award.
Daddy!
Thank you. Thanks, Brad, and thank you to the entire Blumenfeld crew. You and your family have been a huge inspiration. Those of you who haven't been at other LLS events might not know the story of our two families. For several years, before I was diagnosed with NHL, the Blumenfelds held the #1 fundraising team with a record-breaking number each year. Before Team Blumenfeld had ever heard of Lance Meyerowitz or the Lymphomaniacs, I was checking the Light the Night website constantly. They had set the gold standard for LLS fundraising, and I wanted to top it. My teammates and I became obsessed with Blumenfelds and winning their #1 trophy. What started as a friendly rivalry has blossomed into a special friendship between two families with a mutual passion for finding a cure for blood cancers. My wife Julie and I feel very fortunate to have the camaraderie of such a wonderful family. And the competition isn't bad either. Together, in the past 5 years, Team Blumenfeld and the Lymphomaniacs have raised a combined total $1.9 million for the LLS. I'd like to also thank the folks at LLS who have been a pleasure to work with and are always so supportive. Thank you for recognizing our efforts and presenting me with the Relentless for a Cure Award. For better or worse, many who know me can attest to this, but I'm pretty sure that I've been called Relentless before it was attached to this award. I like a challenge, and I fully engage, beginning to end, in what I start. I don't give up easily, and I don't like to lose a fight. My wife will certainly not disagree with any of this, but fortunately, she still loves me. Relentless means never ceasing, persistent, not yielding in intensity. Let me tell you why I'm relentless for a cure for blood cancer. For years, my family walked in the annual LLS Light the Night Walk event in support of my wife's brother, Bob Torrance. Bobby had been a survivor of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma for the past 13 years and counting. My connection became even more personal 3.5 years ago when I too was diagnosed with a blood cancer, the very same kind that Bobby had. Though I had walked for years carrying my red supporter balloon in his honor, I never really considered the impact of the event beyond just showing some support. I didn't realize that all the people carrying white survivor balloons desperately needed our help to live, until I too took a white balloon and walked as a survivor. What really ignited my passion, what drives me every single day to get people to care about this disease, is the thought of leaving my 3 children, ages 10, 7, and 3, without their dad. For Lexi, Corey, and Jake, I am relentless for a cure. I have promised my children that I will fight with everything I've got, with every day I've got, to beat this disease for all of us who are affected by it. I want to share a recent experience with you, one that has helped maintain my focus on the cause. As some of you know, just before reaching my 2nd year in remission for non-Hodgkin's, I was diagnosed with another blood cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma. I had surgery, went through another 6 months of chemo, and shortly after my physicians told me that I put another cancer in remission, I became very ill. After being admitted to the hospital, I underwent days of tests to find out if I had meningitis due to my weakened immune system or if my cancer had spread to my central nervous system. If it was meningitis, my brain and spinal cord were being attacked by an aggressive infection that could kill me. If it was cancer, there was no good treatment, and the prognosis was living just a few more months. This was the most real my disease had ever felt. And when I say real, I mean terrifying. My wife sat in the same chair in a dark hospital room waiting for my diagnosis for days. She's tough and wore an optimistic face for our kids and me. But for the first time in my journey with cancer, I really felt that this time I wasn't going to make it out of the hospital alive. I was confused. I couldn't comprehend simple things. I couldn't walk. I had double vision. I had very high and persistent fevers, and I was in tremendous pain. And all I could think about was my kids. Fortunately, all the tests pointed to meningitis, and slowly I started showing signs of improvement. I had an overwhelming feeling of relief to have dodged this bullet. Though it would take months before I was back fully on my feet, cancer had not won this round. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out this way. For many patients, a story like mine ends tragically. Although we've made great strides in the treatment of blood cancers, people just like me are still dying. Not just from the cancer itself, but after succumbing to infections they become vulnerable to by taking the only known treatments, which unfortunately also cripple the immune system. Shortly after celebrating my recovery, feeling empowered and relieved, I received tragic news. Ryan Mahoney, who I had just recently been introduced to because of our mutual fight with lymphoma, had just died. He was 32 years old and is survived by his wife, who was pregnant with twins and had a 2-year-old son. Ryan was just as tough and determined to beat this disease as I am, but he lost his fight. After hearing Ryan's fate, I was filled with shock, nausea, and most importantly, anger. If I had become complacent at all in my fight for a cure, this news had just renewed my drive. I will continue to fight this disease with everything I've got. We live in an age of discovery, where research dollars turn into useful knowledge, and that knowledge adds up to major milestones. Until finally, there's a cure. I think it's realistic that if we maintain our focus and our resources on fighting blood cancer, A cure can be found within our lifetime. I am hopeful to outlive this disease, and I want all other blood cancer patients, especially all those children, to be here with me. We'll need the continued kindness, generosity, and dedication of our family, friends, colleagues, the LLS, and the medical and research communities. So get your wallets ready. You'll be hearing from me this fall, right before the walk. Thank you so much for this award. I accept it on behalf of my family and all of you who supported this cause. I remain relentless for a cure, and let's go Mets.